that the soul is being impacted with substance. The soul is an expectation of that substance. The spirit is finding agreement with truth. Okay, that the needs of both are being met, aren't they? Okay, and there is equity. Okay, there is no struggle between the two, and there is peace. Okay, there's peace. There's a working together, okay, and a cooperation taking place. That your faith is joined to the contact points of grace. There's a joining there, okay, and through that something new comes forth, righteousness. Okay, grace plus faith equals righteousness. Okay, so also at the spirit and the soul, there's a form of agreement taking place, and a cooperation and a joining taking place. Okay, and something new is created. What? The new man. Okay, equity in the heart. Okay, only through that form of agreement. There's a cooperation and agreement taking place. This is what we see with their faith in the covenant. Okay, that we are finding agreement with the Spirit and the truth of God. Okay, we're finding agreement with the record and the witness. These things are coming together. There's a joining taking place. Okay, as we're following the record that God set for our faith, okay, through conformity, that we are experiencing the witness of God. Okay, through the things of the Spirit, manifold graces of God. Okay, that we're able to observe God governing our grace, governing our faith through His grace and truth, aren't we? Okay, that He has established stewardship in order to preserve the wholesomeness of this knowledge, in order to provide us with instruction, okay, in the covenant, okay, not to lord it over us, not to rule over us with with great oppression, okay, or with many offenses, okay, but to assist us, doesn't He? Okay, He provides His spiritual government to assist us, to instruct us, okay, not to take, all right, not to as a king, will take from you and become an oppression, but as an instructor, He instructs us, doesn't He? Okay, so that even as we serve Him, He's serving us, isn't He? Okay, so and there is and it's through these things, okay, joining together the record and the witness, okay, through this pattern of honor and affection, okay, it's through these things that we see our overcoming. It's through these things that we experience the equity. Okay, and we're able to reflect upon that work within the soul, that experience that we have with His grace and truth, okay, with His grace and peace, okay, that we're able to reflect upon these things. And this is what he's talking about here, okay? And so being heirs, being a weaker vessel, okay? He also talks about here. Giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel. Okay, being the softer vessel. But this is as we are to God, right? Okay, same thing. Now, how does God relate to us? Okay, through domination and control? No, He doesn't, does He? Okay, we are the weaker vessel. We are the softer vessel. Okay, He is of the Spirit. We are as the water. And so therefore we are the weaker, the lesser vessel there. But, okay, how does He approach us? He provides us with instruction, doesn't He? Okay, He does not condemn us in our ignorance. Okay, He provides us with instruction. Now, if we refuse His instruction, okay, then that's grace resisting, okay, and then He condemns us. However, He offers instruction, doesn't He? Okay, He offers the bread. If we refuse His bread, okay, then He takes offense. But He doesn't take offense at the fact that we're hungry. He doesn't take offense at the fact that we lack instruction. Okay, what He takes offense at is the fact that we refuse Christ. So when He makes Christ known to us, when He reveals Christ through His grace, okay, and He provides instruction to us through His stewardship, okay, when we partake of those things, we benefit from them. Okay, and then we experience that work of Christ. Okay, we experience Christ, okay, through the embrace of Christ, through the embrace of His knowledge, the embrace of His tools. Okay, but if we reject these things that He offers to us, okay, then we stand apart. Okay, because we have refused to join ourselves to Him. So it's not that He's pushing us away; it's that we're pushing Him away, aren't we? But this is how we learn God. Okay, He exercises great long suffering towards us, doesn't He? Okay, He He overlooks many offenses as we're coming into covenant with Him. Okay, as we continue to partake of His grace, as we continue to study his doctrine, as we continue to exercise ourselves with these things, then he continues to increase our understanding, doesn't he? Okay, he continues to bear forth that witness, okay, as we are following that record in order to make our faith living. Okay, that as we continue on, so also do we continue increasing and growing in him. Okay, and this is how we've learned God. This is how we've learned Christ. This is how God has manifest Christ to us. Okay, and that we know him through this process of fruit coming. We know him through this process of overcoming. Okay, we know him by this pattern. Right? The same thing. This is what Peter's talking about, reflecting upon. Okay, and being heirs together. Okay, he says, as being heirs together of the grace of life. Okay, that's I like that. You might want to highlight that grace. Being the first element of the gospel there. I've also got knowledge circled there and prayers. Okay, this you see the things that is concerning to the prayer, preaching, and prophecy. Excuse me. Prayer, preaching, and prophecy. Okay, you see the knowledge, the prayers, the grace. Okay, so you see the elements and the tools working together here. Okay, but he talks about here being heirs together of the grace of life. Okay, that grace, which is that power which flows forth from the throne of God. Okay, the very bosom of the Father, right, to make living our faith. Okay, to make known, to make Christ known to us, and to make Christ living to us. Okay, he's talking about that record in the witness, isn't he? Grace and knowledge. Okay, it's that record in the witness also. Okay, but being heirs together, that has to do with being joint heirs in Christ, that we are all partaking of the same grace, as we are all, both male and female, following after the same Spirit, following the same record in subjection to Christ. Okay, and so the same pattern of suffering and glory. Okay, it's no difference. So God set no distinction between the genders for faith. And we see that God sees no value in the male or the female. Okay, he only sees value in Christ and his fruit in our souls through faith in him. This is what God values. Okay, this is what Peter's focused upon. Okay, as he's focused upon the fruit of faith, the work of Christ, the operation of God within the soul, so also is he directing the righteous to focus upon the same things. Okay, why? Because he's working with the grace of God. Okay, the grace of God has set his focus upon Christ. Okay, and as those that are also working with the grace of God and partaking of this knowledge he's sharing with them, so also is their focus being set upon Christ. Okay, because they're working with the same Spirit. Okay, now there are those who can partake of these things, reading these same scriptures, and their focus is somewhere else because they're working with a different spirit. Okay, just reading these scriptures doesn't mean you're working with the grace of God. Okay, these things are inspired by God. Okay, but you have to also work with the Spirit. The Spirit is key. Okay, the Spirit is key to unlocking our understanding. Okay, and the Spirit will not work apart from Christ. Okay, the Spirit does not contradict Christ. The Spirit works within Christ. Okay, not apart from Christ. They're not individual. Okay, it's one. Okay, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit is one. Okay, they work as one. So let's see, where was I at there? Okay, so the focus is on that fruit, right? So the focus of God is not on the vessel, but on the substance. Okay, and you'll notice that that many people want to bring the vessel into the equation of faith. The vessel, okay, our condition of frailty, okay, the male, the female, all of these things they want to bring into the issue of faith, but it's not. It's not part of that. Okay, our faith it must be exercised only with the things of the Spirit, okay, in which there is no gender. There is no male or female. So when faith is joined to Christ, we are able to see beyond the veil of the flesh and experience equity within. Okay, but only when faith is joined to Christ. Okay, this is why you must receive instruction in the priesthood. This is why you must receive instruction in the present covenant. Okay, how can you exercise your faith with knowledge? Okay, right? What does he say? According to knowledge. How can you do that without instruction? Okay, you can't instruct yourself in these things. Okay, because the Spirit will not work apart from his government. Okay, the Spirit does not reveal truth apart from apostles. Okay, that's not how the Spirit of God works. Okay, God has always called forth a steward of his knowledge in order to set in order his knowledge. Okay, the scriptures exist. There was times when the faith of the people went astray because they followed after their own hearts. Okay, we see the same thing happening today, actually. Okay, and it wasn't because of a lack of scriptures. Okay, God didn't send forth a steward to go out and find the scriptures which had been, buried under a rock. Okay, but in order to he raised forth a steward of his knowledge, okay, who was working with the Spirit, who was working with the grace of God. God was giving grace according to that measure, okay, in order to provide stewardship for the people, to set that knowledge in order, okay, because apart from his stewardship, okay, they were privately interpreting the scriptures. Okay, that which God had provided for faith was now being used for another purpose. Okay, it was being turned into another direction. No longer confirming Christ. Okay, their hope was now being set within carnal things. Okay, they weren't looking for that city whose builder is God. Okay, but they were looking for someone to address the needs of the flesh. Okay, and that's not what God provides. That's not the focus. Okay, of the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God sets our focus in Christ. So also, let's go on here. Prayers not being hindered. That has to do with the vessel remaining full of faith. And I spoke about this last week. Okay, that our prayers are received as we walk by faith and we don't draw back. Okay, which is why we want to pray, all throughout the day. As you wake. Okay, you want to exercise your faith with prayer and reflection. Okay, and as you go to sleep, you want to exercise your faith with prayer and reflection all throughout the day. Okay, that we don't want to confuse the angel, okay, who God sends with the answer to our prayers, right? Because as I said before, you'll have to go back to God with further instruction, which only delays the answer. Okay, because as the communication takes place, okay, there is trafficking going on. That the angels are taking our prayers to the throne of God. Okay, and that God is sending them forth as messengers. Okay, with the answer. You see this in the book of Hebrews. Right, and we don't want to confuse the issue, do we? Right, so keep your vessel full of faith. So verse 8. Finally, okay, he goes on, finally, be you all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful and be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, here in verse 9. Not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing. Knowing that you are thereunto called, okay, that you should inherit a blessing. So let's go back and look at that in verse 8. So being of one mind has to do with as concerning faith. Okay, we're one mind. We're working with the same spirit. Okay, the same spirit of righteousness. Okay, we're working with the same angel. Okay, as concerning faith, as concerning the church. Okay, that we are all embracing one doctrine. And having compassion, love the brethren, or love as brethren. Okay, or in other words, not principle upon principle, but faith, hope, and charity, by which we build one another up in the faith. Okay, wisdom builds her house, doesn't she? Okay, wisdom builds her house. Now, principle upon principle, okay, the principle brings offense, okay, but faith, hope, and charity bring increase in building, okay, that we strengthen one another. Or as I said before, how have we learned Christ? Okay, how will we learn Christ? Right? How does Christ strengthen us? Okay, does he condemn us for our weakness, or does he issue forth the things of the Spirit, okay, in order to strengthen us and to assist us in our joy? Okay, right, same thing, right? He provides knowledge, instruction in order to assist us. This is the same thing we do with one another. Okay, as we offer charity one to another, we're confirming the things of the covenant. Okay, we are testifying of that focus of Christ, focus of the Spirit, the work of Christ within the soul, the terms of the covenant, the things that God has sanctified for our faith. Okay, and we are assisting one another in the same focus, aren't we?